So how did you come about Spirogenics, Rashad?
Oh, Deanne. It's part of my internal, external part of my evolutionary journey. It started, way back, learning natural therapies, kinesiology, Feldenkrais, and all these different martial arts yoga in the 80s, early 80s in Sydney. And for instance, to give an example of how things work, it was I was involved in a yogic household there for quite a while in Woollahra in Sydney, and used to be keen yoga student and get up and meditate, do the breathing postures. And then in the early 80s, 81 or so, I was introduced to a friend called Peter. He says, "Hey, mate, you've got to come and check this out." He was doing these movements. It's called the awareness through movement, the Feldenkrais method. And I went, "Yeah, okay, well, yeah, that's cool. Let's do it." But after I just did these movements, and very simple, if you ever done some of the awareness through movement exercises, it did something to shift my awareness and movement. And I found I couldn't do yoga after that. It was like, well, yoga just seemed to be too much of an effort. It was like, who wants to do that? And you can just do these simple little movements, and get these profound results. I was walking differently and just doing it. So then over the years, I did many other therapies. I used to teach kinesiology. I was one of the first in Australia to do Touch for Health, and then the One Brain. We're teaching people how to get their brains connected, and then over the years, I just did all the therapies that came out over a 10-year period, from NLP to rebirthing to what else did we do? Herbalism, acupuncture, you name it. I immersed myself in there, and whilst doing that, I spent 10 years with a Sufi master and teacher studying the Sufism of Inayat Khan. So it's a beautiful system, and we did all this meditation. We'd give you an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, or in the evening before bed. And it was all zikr, it was all, working with malas and mantras and visualizations, and it was all pretty cool, It was a really nice time. We'd do these amazing universal dances of peace and worship, and I'd be playing guitar as well. And so that's where I sort of got into the spiritual aspect of singing and playing. And from there, after 10 years of exploration, then, one of the things that did interest me and did get me into this early stage was learning. I went to a weekend. I never heard of Tai Chi, and there's this master called Al Wang that I've just reconnected with recently on the YouTube. He's amazing, and I realised that, well, you can still be doing Tai Chi or all these things, but we still age, So he was this beautiful young man just doing these amazing Tai Chi, and somehow after a weekend, that got me interested. I then wanted to learn Tai Chi, and I went along to one of the first Tai Chi academy movements in Paddington. And Gary Corr came back from China all primed up to do his Tai Chi. And when he started moving, it was like, oh, that's not it. That's not what I saw from this master. The first Tai Chi master I've ever experienced and witnessed. And so I guess that journey, he imbued something more like a spontaneous Tai Chi, just moving from within. And I guess that sort of carried through unknowingly, unconsciously within my being. So Feldenkrais was a step, and all these other systems of therapy. Kinesiology was always a tool that I've had as a profession, and teaching and working with people. And then about in the late 80s, 89, 90, my teacher ended up dying of a horrific sort of cancer of the spine, and for us little students there, it was, oh dear, can't we help? We really had this, but we wanted to help, we're learning all these healing methodologies, and he was just going, it is what it is. He just resigned to it and ended up dying, having had morphine. It wasn't a pleasant experience for him, but and it sort of left me in a little bit of despair. A lot of our students that were there, what's it all about, Alfie? It's like, how much more enlightened or spiritual am I after all these years of meditation and doing other, slogging away? And that's when I met another spiritual teacher from Malaysia, Kirpal Singh, who was a Sikh, and had his turban, and he had the beard, and he looked like a real guru, you know, but he just wore normal clothes and a tie. He was a scientist and a electronics engineer, and he'd done all the rounds of, similar to myself, he'd studied many meditation systems, TM, and then he was involved with this movement meditation system called Subud over in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. So it took him many years to sort of reconcile. One guru was telling him to sit still, you know, Maharishi, TM, it's like, sit, that's it, you've got to do that. And on the other hand, he met this other guru, Bapak, from Java, Indonesia, that started this Latihan movement, KG1, that was spontaneous, let the spirit move you, you know, and he would do that, then he'd go back. And so he was in a bit of a conflict there, and it took him a little while to get, this is what I've got to do, you know, he was prompted from within to do this, and he started the World Spiritual Foundation, and he called it VCM, this Vibrant Celestial Meditation Technique, which in the early 1990, January 1990, in Strathfield Girls High School, he was doing a world circuit tour where I learnt it from him, you know, this weekend, which kind of went, whoa, you know, it sort of certainly did something, you know, all of a sudden my body, instead of being moving, you know, it was being moved, you know, sitting and sounds, all this meditation, everything just became just thrown out the window, because it was like, this is what it's about, you know. Being moved, you know, it's like not from the ego and the mind and this. That experience, it hasn't left, it just stayed with me. So it's from having this experience and the fell across all of these things put together that years down the track I would be doing. I belong to two world spiritual organisations that taught this form of movement meditation. And I would see this beautiful let go, free flow, men, women, and they'd get on the floor. And then the way they'd get up, the head would come up and they'd jerk themselves off the floor and come up standing, legs locked, and it'd be all over. And if I started muscle testing, they'd be just boom, you know. And I think, it's not the way to go. It was through when I was in Sydney, I was seeing this dentist friend of mine was up in Brisbane, Greg. And he was getting up the same way, you know, you're on the floor and then the head comes up and you know, you jerk yourself up, and it's like the same, we get off the chair, you know, this movement, and all of a sudden I said, hey Greg, you know, let me show you something. Roll from the pelvis, roll over, begin to spiral up. And I muscle tested him before and after, and it was like this immediate boom. And it was like, the light bulb goes off and it goes, that's it. That's how we're meant to do it. We're designed that way, you know, from the cells, the atomic structure, right through to the galaxies. We're all moving in this spiral rotation. And every culture, every dance, every indigenous culture has embedded a part of that in its culture. So Tai Chi, they're standing and doing this beautiful movements. And it becomes like a meditation, a dance. The only thing they're missing is eating carpet, as I mentioned earlier, getting down on the floor. They never get down.
I had to put that in there.
I had to put that in there. So what I realise is that there's a certain, it's like music, the 7 primary postures. So once we learn these postures, go through the spiral pathway, and the difference of I can move my hand up through a spiral movement this way, and it switches our energy system back on. So as I'm moving my whole body, I can be doing Tai Chi on the chair called Spira Chi, you know, and it's just, it's a beautiful movement. I can really work the whole body. I can come down onto the floor through the spiral pathway and come into sitting, you know, so there's no beginning or ending for this movement. And as I'm coming back up, I recalibrate back onto the chair. So, and when I find my homing posture in these 7 postures, sitting, there's a point where there's just an ease to that. I think we're experiencing that today, just in the first day here, half a day or a day. There's no effort. So it's the path of effortless, no resistance, movement, meditation, whatever we like to call it. So it's, I call it, for the lack of a better term, Richard's technique or whatever, it's just a natural process, and spirogenics is the term I've coined for this movement that brings about an immediate harmony, immediate balance, immediate empowerment, the way that all the muscles, every system begins to switch on from the inside out. And even the meditation, as we experience, we just let go, let God, and movements will come from within. And that becomes, you can bring that into your everyday life. And so as I move from sitting to standing, I can come up into a very potent, relaxed posture there it's going to stay on, you know. As I come back onto the chair, I immediately begin to come back down again through that spiral rotational movement, vortex. So I sit differently, very different to sitting and standing this way and that. And I've just done myself in, so self-muscle test, and I'm gone. But to get it back, all I've got to do is just reset, come back up, and through that posture, and back through again, through the rotational movement, and I'm back again. So it's very easy to check yourself. It's a self-healing, a self-empowerment, a self-regulatory system that you can do anywhere, anytime. So you can be sitting on the toilet seat, jiggling your bottom, on the chair, doing a little buttocks walk. So that's how it works. So for want of a better word, it's a system that we can. It's very easy to share, and it's a system that once you realise what the benefits are, you'll stop doing anything else or incorporate it, as this creates the foundation for life itself. It's the movement for life, and then as we spiral into that, we then feel what the movement of life is itself, and that's where the true healing meditation, the true connection comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashad.